Hey everyone, welcome to the show. Tonight we're talking about creating a strong sense of self. My name is Dr. Asatar Bear, and here's my co-teacher, Leah Schaefer.
Welcome, welcome, everyone.
Nice to see you all. Now, we have to kind of start by saying, look, most spiritual teachings, or a lot of spiritual teachings at least, are saying kind of the opposite of what we're saying, right? Like, create a strong sense of self. No, 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 no. That's selfish, right? That is, we with that's ego. We want to do the opposite. We want to break down the ego. We want to get beyond the ego, or transcend the ego. We want to, write all this stuff, right? So a lot of it is kind of going in the opposite direction, right? But here's the thing, before you can explore attenuating the ego, you have to have an ego. You have to have your sense of who you are and stand in your
Yeah,
truth.
yeah, you can't renounce something that you don't actually own. So,
Yeah. And a lot of times we, kind of do this maybe for the wrong reasons, right? Like, we say things like, oh, I'm just going to let go of this desire. I'm going to let go of this goal. Um, well, is that the right path? I mean, maybe
mm,
that's weakness, not strength. Maybe that's like the old parable of the fox trying to get the grapes, and it keeps on jumping for the grapes and can't get the grapes, and then says, well, they're probably sour anyway, right? So I'm gonna give up on them, right?
oh my God, I love that. Oh,
We have desires for a reason, right? I mean, like, we are here
mm,
to build things. We are here to make things. We're here to make this world better. And that means we can't give up everything all the time, right? I mean, some things we have to actually attain. We have to actually work on them and achieve them, right? Now we have to be careful about that. We have to choose wisely, right? But to say, it's a common kind of spiritual trope for people to say, well, I'm not attached, or I'm letting that go. You know,
mm,
we got to be careful about what we hold on to, and we have to be careful about what we let go of, right? Because this is what the self is, right? I mean, you're saying, look, certain things I'm making part of myself, right? And certain
mm.
things I'm letting go is no longer part of me, right? That takes a lot of discernment. We would never want to say, oh, let go of everything, right? There's some things
Mhm.
we need to really hold on to.
Yeah, you're gonna let it all go when you're dead. So like you have to really hold on to what you want to live for and why you're
Yeah,
living and what it's important to you to live for. It's like we only get one shot at this. I'm only gonna be Leah one time, That's it. Like this is the one shot I get to be myself. And so, you can't throw it away. It's like it's I know it's a lot of pressure to think about. Like sometimes it's like, especially if I have a low sense of self-esteem, then like that pressure of fulfilling like my dreams or just coming into my highest form that I can possibly do within my framework of limitation,
right,
it's can be so intimidating and terrifying, and it's not so much to put that like kind of pressure on anybody, but it's the sense to like say that you're actually very important and your life is really important and you don't want to throw it away. Like and I think there's a lot of messaging out there that or and a lot of opportunities to throw ourselves away and to throw our lives away. And
mm,
so establishing a strong sense of self, I'm extraordinarily passionate about it. I find that it's the main thing that I do with my spiritual work and with my meditations, my breath work, my work, all of it. So
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. We talk about the chakras, right? These energy centers of the body, of our being. Um, we have a whole series on the chakras. If you want to go back into our catalog, we go through each one. Um, but the first three chakras are your foundation in the world. The root chakra is like your seat, your foundation. Um, the second chakra, the sexual chakra, is about what are you saying yes to, right? What are you creating? What is your creative
Mm,
energy? Where's that going, right? And the third chakra, the solar plexus, is about, well, what are your boundaries? What are you saying no to, right?
mhm,
So sometimes these are described as being about money, sex, and power. I mean, to put it in the in the crudest terms, right? But
Yeah.
the thing is, we can't function in the world without that, right? We can't function in the world without navigating money, sex, and power, right? So, we want to be full human beings. I mean, that means not just being purely spiritual, right? We have to explore our humanity as
Mhm.
well, right? Um,
Yeah.
so meditation should help us with that, right? It shouldn't
Mhm.
make us more
And
narrow, right? It should make us more integrated.
and just to be clear for everybody listening, Dr. Asatari is not Astar Bear is not talking about that money is the only part of the root chakra or that sex is the
Yeah,
only part of the second chakra. That's not what he's saying. He's just saying like those are kind of the aspects of it that can be perceived as negative or as like um I don't know, just it's not
not
only
spiritual.
that.
Yeah,
It's not, yeah, yeah, not
right.
spiritual. Thank you.
Now, look, we have an
Thank you.
interesting comment here. Humans are a fungus, and we will end up growing into space, surrounding stars, and taking their energy to fuel our process of becoming a galaxy-sized brain. Interesting. Maybe that's our future. I don't
We're
know.
happy that you're here with us now.
Good
I'm
to
really
see you.
happy you're here with us now and exploring yourself and your consciousness.
There is something
Um,
that feels like that, right? When you really expand your consciousness in meditation, right? It feels like I'm a lot bigger than this narrow confines of what I think of myself as. I mean,
right.
the sense of like, where does myself begin and end? I mean, it turns out that's a lot more elastic than you might think,
Right.
right?
Right, right. And it has a lot to do with like our sense of identity. And I feel like most of
Yeah,
us feel an ideal within ourselves, a potential, a core part of ourselves that we are just longing to bring forward and experience and share with other people. Like either sharing from ourselves to them or between each other, like bringing them in.
yeah,
Um, yeah, and it's not an easy feat. Bringing like the most fundamental, authentic parts of yourself into fruition, making your dreams into a reality. These things are not an easy thing to do, and I think about like my wonderful niece when she was very little. She used to draw, on some paper, and she would just get so pissed. Like she'd draw something and she'd be like, "No, it looks nothing like what I want it to." And I was just like, "Yeah, isn't that the whole thing?" Is like we try to put ourselves out there, like to do our work to present whatever it is that we want to express from the core of our being, from the authentic sense of self, and then like the first few times or however many years it takes us, it looks like shit, or like it's like it's nothing compared to the perfection that we know is within.
right.
And that's like this game. And so our and it's the same thing with our identity. Like our identity is something, our personality, our character, it is something that we are creating. It is our artwork, and it is something that is ever evolving, and it's something that we're constantly refining in different ways. I mean, some of us are constantly refining it, other of us are ignoring it completely. So
Yeah,
yeah.
but you know what I think what one another way of saying like what is our theme for tonight, right? Is like, can you just stand in yourself, right? Can you say like, here I am, and is everyone going to understand you all the time?
Yeah.
No, right? I mean, people will project things onto you, they will think, they will attribute the worst motives to you. And, the more your influence grows, the more true this is, right? People often don't see you who you really are, right? They see kind of like a
Mhm.
projection of their hopes and fears, right? Um,
Right, right.
and you kind of have to just let that be, right? I mean, you can't change people's minds really, right? I mean, like,
Mhm.
but you can know who you are, right? And that helps
Yes.
a lot, right? That helps you weather all kinds of things, right? I mean, anytime you're in a
Yeah.
position of responsibility, anytime you're in a position of power or authority, some people aren't going to like what you do. I mean, that's the
Mhm.
reality, right? Um, and that is going to tax your sense of self. But on
Mhm.
the other hand, without being in a position of responsibility, without having power, without having influence, there's not much we can do in the world, right? So, if we're here to make an impact, if we're here to achieve things, if we're here to change certain things, right? I mean, it kind of gets to the issue of like, well, what do you think life is about? What is the
Mm.
purpose here, right? If it is to be full human beings, we do have desires, right? We have things that we want to achieve. And to do that, it's going to require, you know, it requires power, right? So to be comfortable with that, right? And to know who you are and what you intend, to be able to withstand all of the difficulties, right? All of the misunderstandings, the ways that people see you. Um, I don't know, maybe that gives another kind of angle on what we're talking about here.
No, absolutely. It's a fear. I feel that a lot with myself, like this fear of the self-expression. And I think it's rooted in this sense of, am I actually worthy of love, right? And
Mm,
it's like until we internalize the fact that we are worthy of love, irregardless of how other people are treating us, like until we actually internalize that sense, like I am worthy of love, and it's something I have to do pretty much daily. But like it always creates this like sense of like fear of even having any form of self-expression, any form of self-trust, any
yeah.
form of creation, like being a proactive part of creating either your own self, your own home, or creating into the larger audience of your community, etc.
Yeah, well said.
So
Well, let's try to explore this in meditation. It's that
excellent.
that time of the class where we stop talking and start talking about meditation, at least. So to begin with, we'll take a nice upright meditation posture and just try to align your body so that your center line is directly over your hips. Your head is in line. A lot of times we're putting our head kind of too far forward, right? So let's just bring that back so that our spine is nicely stacked, uh, and body's upright. We don't want to be stiff with it. We want to be as relaxed as we can and still be in this upright and energized flow of energy, feeling as though your head is suspended at it as if from a string from the very top of your head, and your weight is resting on your sits bones. And then we tune into the breath and focus on the breath. Notice your inhalation, notice your exhalation. By observing the breath, we can observe our own energy on a fundamental level. But now we'd like to intervene in the breath. We'd like to change the breath, to work on the breath. And we can start by making the breath deep. And what that means is that as you breathe in, you are allowing your belly to expand.
Mhm.
And as you breathe out, your belly is contracting. Your belly button is moving toward your spine. Your belly is expanding and contracting. And sometimes it's helpful to just place your hand right at the base of your rib cage, just kind of lightly on your belly. Just feel yourself breathing. Feel that expansion and contraction. Now we'd like to go further with the development of the breath. We'd like to make the breath slow as well. So making the breath deep shifts your nervous system to the parasympathetic nervous system, the relaxation response, as it's been called. And that triggers a whole host of physiological changes in your body. By doing this consciously, we can really aid the process of relaxing, because this is the issue that we faced with in modern life. Our nervous systems get hyperactivated. We have a residual stress response going on, even when we're at rest, even when there doesn't seem to be anything stressful. We sort of hold on to that. So, breathing down deep in your belly, allowing that expansion and contraction, allows you to just drop into that relaxation response. And making the breath slow slows down your rhythm. And this is the other problem, right? When we're sitting alone with our thoughts are often racing around in circles. But by slowing down the breath, we can slow down our thoughts. We can slow down our emotional space. We can slow down our mental processes. And this can bring a lot of relief. You're not going to stop thinking, of course, right? Your mind is designed to think, but your thoughts are going to have a different rhythm. And you might notice this happening over time. It might not happen right away. Deep, slow breathing. Now you might wonder, what does this have to do with the sense of self? Well, the fact is that, when we're agitated, when our thoughts are racing, when we're in fear and anxiety, it's very hard for us to experience our full selves. We're very focused on the stressor at hand. We're focused on the anxiety. We're focused on our hopes of what might happen or our fears. It obscures our sense of who we really are. So by making the breath deep and slow, we are allowing that to we're allowing ourselves to just sort of drop in, drop into the depth of our body and slow down, experience the fullness of being. Breath is energy, breath is life. And we would like the flow of life that comes through our breath to be even and balanced. We would like it to be rhythmic. And we would like it to be centered on our hearts. Our hearts, that is where the energy is taken in, where it's directed. It is the center of our being, the center of all emotion, all feeling, all love. We would like to energize our hearts with our breath. That is heart rhythm meditation, the kind of meditation that we practice and teach that comes from Sufism, the Sufism of Hazrat Inayat Khan. So, can we make our breath not just deep and slow, but also rhythmic, also heart centered? We can. We can do that by making the inhalation and the exhalation the same length and the same intensity. And a good way of doing that is to tune into your heartbeat and to count the beats of your heart and make that number the same on the inhalation and the exhalation. So you start wherever you are, and you start with whatever count feels comfortable to you. But if you're going to work on this practice over time, I would like you to get to a place where you're doing 8 beats in and 8 beats out. 8 heartbeats on the inhalation, 8 heartbeats on the exhalation. You might not be there right away, and that's okay. All these techniques take time to master, even if they sound simple. Simple does not necessarily mean easy. Maybe you can't feel your heartbeat right away, and if not, that's okay. You can take your hand, and place it on your heart. You can press with your fingertips right on your breastbone. Maybe you feel it in your fingertips, then feel the pulse. If neither of those things work, you could just imagine the heartbeat. You're probably not too far off. Is there anything that I'm saying to do that you can't do? Don't let it trouble you. This is a process. I'm asking you to do a lot right now. Even if you can only do part of it, that's still very good. Deep, slow, heart-centered, rhythmic breathing. Very, very powerful. You might feel how it puts you in a vibe very quickly. Now, the last step of the practice is to make the breath full. So that means to squeeze your abdominal muscles as you breathe out. Really bring that belly button toward the spine, squeezing out all of the breath on the exhalation. And then as you breathe in, you allow your belly to expand, and then you bring the breath all the way up into your chest, allowing the ribs to expand and the breath to expand all the way to your collarbone. Big, powerful, full breath, but one that is also slow, one that is also subtle, one that is controlled so that there isn't any jaggedness in this breath. It's an even, slow, steady flow. And imagine that that incredible flow of energy comes right into your heart as you breathe in and radiates from your heart as you breathe out. The breath is life. The breath is you. Feel the breath nourishing you on every level, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Now, as you inhale the breath into your heart, feel your heart. Feel your heart's energy. Feel your own vibrational field, your own energy, your own, for lack of a better word, your own vibe. You have a unique combination of qualities and energies. Tune into that and energize that with your breath. As you breathe out, your energy radiates in all directions. You are expressing yourself. you are speaking the words that only you can speak. You are creating on a spiritual level. As you breathe in, take in that breath and let it fuel you. Let it revitalize you. Let your energies be replenished. And as you breathe out, allow your being to expand. And you may begin to notice that your being, like the breath, is unlimited. That your being goes on forever in all directions. That your being is endless, eternal, perfect, infinite. You have your limitations. You have your foibles. You have your weaknesses. We all do. It's what makes us human. But for every quality that we have, we might be more in touch with the negative than we are with the positive, such as life, right? So often we're aware more of the negatives than we are the positives, but they both come from the same energy, the same quality, right? Maybe you have a short temper. Okay, that's a negative, right? But that clusters often with other kinds of qualities, right? Maybe you're also very stubborn. Well, perhaps you also have courage. Maybe you have determination. That's just another side of stubbornness, isn't it? One's strengths and weaknesses are often so closely connected. Having a temper might also be having passion, having strong desires. But you need that strength in order to get things done. In order to achieve anything in this world, it starts with an idea, it starts with a desire, it starts with an energy from your heart, it starts with a longing. Energize that with your breath. Allow that to radiate forth from your being. And as you do so, you learn more and more with each breath who you really are. As you breathe into your heart, feel the truth of your being. And truth that is far too large for words. A truth that cannot be spoken. That's too easy. The words are too limited. You may not be able to speak this truth, but you can embody it. You can realize it. You can sit in the light of this truth. And you can let that light shine forth from your being. You may notice as you do this over time that you become both more yourself and less yourself. Because what is the self? We're so familiar with our limited self, our small self, as the Sufis call it. We're so unfamiliar with our large self, our unlimited self. It's no less real. We just so rarely do we make the time for it to really sit in the eternal splendor of our being. May you know yourself ever more deeply with each breath. And in the times that you forget yourself, may you have faith in the knowledge that you had at one time, in the experience that you had at one time. Even if you feel like it's a million miles away and 1,000 years ago, maybe you just hold tight to that feeling. Yes, I experienced that spark deep within myself, and I know that to be my spirit. All right, we'll end our meditation there. Thank you.
Thank you, Asatar. Oh, yeah. I really like when you're guiding us to connect in with our unique sense of self because the universe is experiencing itself through each of us individually, and it gets a little glimpse of itself through each of our forms.
Yeah,
And it's like the one and only time that the universe gets to know life through you. And so, this is part of the reason it's so important to fully realize yourself, or at least to know as much of yourself as possible. And as soon as you know as much of yourself as possible, not only do you start to know your own personal desires, your own personal needs, but you also start to feel and experience your connection to all things. And from there, the universe gets to live through you. It's
yeah,
a lot. It's a lot like if you think of like a master pianist. It doesn't matter how incredible that pianist is going to be if the piano is out of tune.
hmm,
And to think that that each of us, um that the one life, that the universal life wants to play its newest masterpiece through you, its newest music, and that music is going to be completely unique to you. And it's
hmm,
like every time that you show up for yourself, every time you come into your own presence, into your own heart, and you're present with yourself long enough to even feel a breath, you are allowing yourself to be tuned in with yourself and with deeper
hmm.
and deeper parts of yourself. So, this is part of the reason it's just so important to realize why it's important to become your fullest version of your own self, whatever that means to you. It's going to
Yeah,
be very different to each person.
yeah. Well, that's well said.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, we get so kind of trapped in our own individuality, don't we? I mean, like, um, what I'm hearing you saying is that like there's more at stake than just ourselves, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's the universe is longing to experience life through us. I mean, it's a different perspective. It's I mean, maybe it's not real to you, right? Like, maybe this is sort of just words, but like, you know, I think one of the opportunities we have in meditation is try it out, like see if there's anything more to this, right? I mean, maybe
Play
we're just a
around with
couple of
it.
windbags, like, all right, in that case, ignore it. But like, if there's something to that it resonates, and then you feel it, I mean, well, all right, that's 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 something,
Right. And well, a lot of people I think also struggle with this sense of purpose, and to know that it is a purpose in and of itself to just become yourself and to know yourself,
Yeah,
that the universe is essentially getting to know itself through you, I think can relieve a lot of that pressure.
yeah,
Um, you know, um, but yeah, and also the other thing too is like outside of the universe, the second highest form of influence is social proof, and which means essentially like we learn through observation. And so whatever it is that you bring out into the world, through your personality or through whatever it is that you create or work that you do, um, on any level, you know, that is essentially showing other people what's possible. And so I think we really underestimate the amount of influence that we have. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about, so I grew up without a very strong sense of self. And all of these things that I do these days, putting myself out there, it's terrifying for me. It really is. I mean, I feel comfortable now with all of you. Also, Tara
I
and
mean,
I have
you
established.
teaching meditation on the internet in front of the
I
world. Look at this.
Yikes. So, but it is something that I want everybody to know that this was not how I started whatsoever. And these are the most common kind of pain points that I felt. So
Hmm.
growing up, I'm going to just read them out. So, feeling lost. So this is like without a strong sense of self. Feeling
Hmm.
lost, abandoning myself to please someone else, not respecting myself and therefore not being respected,
Hmm.
hiding and then feeling frustrated that no one really knew me, personal forms of personal neglect, not knowing or voicing my own needs, again, staying silent. Um, and yeah, that's the main list of them. And
Wow.
so, yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I mean, I think that's so relatable. I mean, I don't feel all of those, but I definitely like I'm listening to that and I'm like, yeah, I feel some of them very strongly myself,
Yeah.
And I mean, I think many people do, and it just I think it kind of shows, right? Like we come at this ourselves with needs, I mean, like
Mhm.
we each, I think, you and I, right? Like we each have a longing to grow and develop and heal.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Um, and I feel a certain sense of responsibility, like I do. I feel a certain sense of responsibility because I feel like I've been given a lot of gifts in life, and I
Mm.
want to be able to share them back with others. And so it's like there's a certain level of there's a lot of people who don't necessarily have examples or don't necessarily have sources that they can turn to in refuge and in hope and inspiration. And it's easy to fantasize about somebody that's already dead, but like to really know someone and to say like this is what's possible. And I think when we have a lot of insecurities, it can sometimes feel like envy or jealousy, but it's just a pointing you to what you want. Like it's just like those kind of things is just saying, hey, like that's what you want for yourself,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so I just really want to emphasize that it's not just all about like becoming strong in yourself is for a lot of things. It's for you, it's for the universe, but it's also for everyone else within humanity that gets to witness you and gets to be a part of your life. So yeah, so it's really important work. And I wanted to talk tonight. How much time do we have? So 40. Okay, yeah. So we still have time for the meditation. Um, but yeah, so okay, so there's a lot of I wanted to say this too. I have so much on this topic. There
We,
so
we might need to
there
continue it next week. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how
yeah,
we do.
maybe we will. um but I wanted to say a few things from Nathaniel Branden, who's a considered the father of self-esteem in psychology. So these are the 6 pillars of self-esteem. So I just want to run through them real quick for everybody that's listening. So living consciously. So that's essentially like becoming consciously aware of your life and yourself. Um, and like not turning it off, not turning it down. Self-acceptance. So self-acceptance is a lot like what we do in our practices every time we sit down, because we're just sitting with what is. We're really working with what's going on. I'm accepting my negatives and my positives.
Hmm.
If I feel horrible on a certain day, I'm right there with myself. I'm present with it, right? And I'm like, okay, this is what's happening. I accept what's going on, and then I love myself enough to try to work with it, right? Self-responsibility is the third one. So self-responsibility is kind of like saying like, um, I think it's a little bit too harsh. He says it like, no one's coming, like no one's going to save you, you know? And like, I think that's partially untrue, but it's like, but I interpret it as, because I feel like we're all in the village and we're all in this together. But it's the sense that like no one's going to prioritize you more than you will prioritize yourself.
Mm,
So you have to take responsibility for like your dreams and fulfilling them, and or just healing, or just like whatever it is you want, you know, being social sometimes, whatever your goal is, right? Whatever's your heart wants.
right.
Um, self-assertiveness. So like, not like, you can be a shy person but still like, oh, like still allow yourself to be yourself, you know? So it's like being your authentic self and then bringing that into creation however you want to, whatever feels good to you. So allowing yourself to like actually get like give of yourself.
Hmm.
Self-assertiveness. Living purposefully. So it's like every moment's an opportunity. like so sometimes like living purposefully can look like crying. So like, you know, like if I meet my heart and my heart's full of pain and I cry and I really process what's happening, that's purposeful living. And so it doesn't always have to be like this, like, you know, go get 'em attitude. But really making that meaning of every moment and like really meeting yourself again. So and then personal integrity. And personal integrity is to be in alignment with yourself. So it's like you get to choose your rules. It's not anybody else's rules. But when you're out of alignment with yourself, you know it, and that eats away at your self-esteem. It kills your sense of self.
Yeah.
And you, because you know you're not being authentic to yourself. It's a form of self-abandonment, right? And so I just wanted to make sure to give that information to anybody that's really working on these things. And tonight in particular, as promised by my social media platform, I am going to focus on the word no. And I find that extraordinarily powerful. I think it's one of the most powerful words I've ever learned how to say to myself and others. Um, and it's really comes from the solar plexus center and the center of the will. And
Mm,
so the will is one of the most powerful for like things that we have, you know, where there's a will, there's a way, right? And it's so like it's so hard to do. Like we're trying to bring our ideals into form, and we're willfully going to it, and we're met with our limitations constantly, right? And there's a lot of things that we're going to have to say no to in order to bring those ideals into form, whether it's from ourself or in our outer life. And so we're going to practice that tonight.
all right.
And so as you're ready, go ahead and sit down, maybe do a little stretch. I know that was a lot of info. We're going to quiet it down a bit now. All right. And just take a moment to be present with yourself, with however you are feeling right now, and really starting to tune in with that, and then to meet that not only with your consciousness and your awareness, but also to meet that with your presence, with your breath and your breathing. So, looking somatically, looking into your body, looking into your heart. And there's probably a lot of stuff going on in your mind too, but let's look into our hearts tonight. And start to meet your heart with your full breathing. Like right away, here's a friend. Here's an internal sense of connection. It's like I'm facing what's going on inside, but I'm not alone. My breath is my friend, and it's right here, and it's meeting this experience with me. And so deepening your breathing, nice full rhythmic breath. So if you didn't hear anything from me tonight, I just want, and you can only have one takeaway. I want it to be to for you to have a glimpse of how absolutely important that you are. And just try to tune in with that in your heart. Maybe try to let that in. Feel it in the side of you, the part of you that really knows that, the core of your being. And again, meet it with your breath. Meet it with your full breathing. And this right here, this could be plenty. This could be enough. Just working with this, being present in yourself, conscious, aware, and breathing with whatever's going on inside, really meeting it with your breath. Mm, I'm going to keep adding things in. And so, but just know that this is already a lot just to meet yourself here. I've always asked a lot of myself, and so I tend to do that with my meditations. I ask a lot of you, and I'm aware of it. I just really want us to know fully who it is that we are and what it is that we're capable of. And I want to support you in creating these things. And this is just one of the ways to do that. It's the way that I've found. Begin to connect your breath with your heart. So maybe for you, that just feels like feeling the energetic stream of your breath or the sensation of your breath moving through your heart as you breathe, helping you come deeper inside of your own being. Or maybe you have been practicing and you can start to breathe in rhythm with your heartbeat, either counting or placing a sacred mantra or sacred word that you want repeated through every heartbeat and through every pulse, circulating through your whole being. To really start to make the conscious connection between your mind, your focus, your attention, your body, your heart, and your breath, and really start to bring those into a harmonic rhythm with each other, feeling them all at once. Mostly with the mind, you're just using it to focus your awareness deeper inside. And you're using it to create a fuller and fuller breath. I guarantee that there's going to be, each breath that we have is as unique as a fingerprint, our breathing pattern. The beautiful thing is it's something you can make conscious, and so you can start to open up parts of yourself that are normally closed off, even parts of your diaphragm that are normally not moving. And you can also start to become aware of parts of your body that you've completely lost touch with within your own consciousness of yourself. And we get to choose what kind of energy that we place on our breath, on our intention. I know that might sound a little bit abstract, but try it out. And so see about maybe that feeling of love is a really good one for developing ourselves, this form of unconditional love. We're taught that love is conditional, but it's not. And so as you explore your own internal world, really exploring it with your breath and placing that energy of love on your breath as you breathe. That's really good. And now go ahead, bring your focus to your solar plexus. And so that's right at the bottom of the rib cage. It's kind of like where you feel like the pit of your stomach, this like the place where um, we might feel a lot of like anxiety sometimes, but also the place where we feel a lot of drive, our willfulness. And for me, it's like this place where I feel a burning inside. It's like an eternal flame that's always there. It's just like life just keeps hitting me with these things, and regardless of how much my mind or my heart goes through, this flame is always burning. And I feel it burning inside of me even brighter when I get struck in my heart by something painful. Like if there was a sense you had of your own truth, where would it live in your body? And I experience it right there in the solar plexus. And so try to drop into that sense of an eternal light that lives within you, an eternal truth, a connection that is beyond our limited form. And every time you breathe, amplify that sense of your own truth, the truth of your being, the light of truth within you. Just making it bigger and bigger and keeping your focus right on that solar plexus region, deep, deep inside, beyond the skin of the surface. Like go in. And sometimes I even like to, with my breath, allow that light to rise, maybe even rising all the way up and out my eyes. But just stay with what's true for you. Anchor yourself deep, deep into your core, your most authentic part of yourself, your most eternal sense of yourself and sense of your truth of your being. And now you can just stay here and enjoy this and build it inside of you. But I'm going to offer you this, invite you to continue to keep your focus where it is, continue this way, but then to really feel what you need to realign in your life right now. What is it that you know is not the right alignment? Like you already know, you can feel it. You know it's not the right thing for you. It's not in alignment with your truth. It's not in alignment with your authenticity. It could be anything. It could be small. It could be big. It could be the way someone spoke to you that you just do not agree with and you did not have the words to say something back. It could be something so minuscule, seemingly meaningless, but that strikes that exact same part of you And I just want you to invite you, whatever that is, big or small, to try to stay with your center, to stay with your truth, the core of you, while you just allow yourself to kind of feel into that one part of your life showing up for you now, where you say, this is not me, this is not what I want, this is not my truth. And then keep breathing and keep your consciousness on both the truth of your being and on this part that is out of alignment. And in fact, as you bring this part of your life that's out of alignment into your consciousness, amplify your truth more. So amplify with every breath. Allow that sense of the core of your being to get bigger and stronger and brighter with every breath that you take, becoming more present, becoming more convicted in what it is that you know to be your authentic reality. And then the last step is to really look into the eyes of whatever it is that you're facing. It might not be a person, but that sense of really looking at the face of it. And then you can say it out loud or you can say it internally. But we're going to play with this very anchored, deep, absolutely no. I want to encourage you, especially if you have trouble saying no out loud, to look at this thing in your face, like, and to bring it into your consciousness, to hold that sense of your truth in yourself, and to say out loud, no, from the truth of your being. Saying it out loud from that core can change all the patterns of yourself. So one more time, deep inside, finding the truth, facing the part of yourself or life that is outside of integrity, and then from that deep place of knowing, no. And then as you breathe now, just feeling the effects of doing that practice, feeling how that is, and stay with your truth and let that light of your truth, the light of your solar plexus, move through your whole body, your whole being with every breath that you're taking. Build it even more, spread that truth even more, spread the light, anchor deeply into the truth of your knowing, of your authentic self. Sometimes the after effect of saying no can be harder than the actual act. So just taking one more breath like this, staying present, staying with yourself, not abandoning this moment, and honoring yourself for what you are doing. And then thank yourself for meditating today. Thank yourself for the work that you've been doing. And as you're ready, move your body and open up your eyes.
Mm. It's so important to be able to say no, isn't it? I mean, it's a limit, it's a boundary. it says, well, we wouldn't or we won't accept. But the way of putting it, feeling it in your body, feeling it in your core, feeling it in your center, it's very powerful.
Mm.
Look, we have a comment here from Doug. You have to have a strong self to help others. People turn to you for that reason. Very true. Yeah.
Oh, Doug, thank you so much. Yeah, exactly. That's it. Yeah.
Well, thank you all
Mm.
so much for joining us and meditating with us this evening. Really feel the vibe tonight. Um,
Yeah, big time.
we'll be back
Mm.
next week. If you'd like to contribute to the show, we have a Patreon link, and of course, we appreciate anyone who likes or subscribes or comments. And don't
Mm.
forget to follow Leah on Instagram. And if you're in Tucson, you should take a yoga class with her. And we'll be here next week. If you have any questions or anything you'd like to hear us discuss, please reach out. We'd love to hear you comment. We have a final comment. Beautiful meditations. Thank you both.
Mm.
Thank you so much for being with us.
Ron, thank you so much. We're happy you're here.
Well,
Mm.
hopefully we'll see some of y'all next week. Keep on
Mm.
meditating.
Yeah, happy meditating, everybody. Go get them. Fight the good fight.
Strong self, remember.
All right.